10 places you are not allowed to visit. Number 10. Kamchatka, Russia. Russia is one of the most largest and coldest places. It is only fitting that it is also home to some of the most incredible volcanic activity in the planet. On the Kamchatka Peninsula, the massive volcano belt contains 160 different volcanoes, 29 of which are still currently active. The highest of which is Klyakhovskaya Sopka, at 15,584 feet tall. An area with so much volcanic activity is obviously not an ideal place for exploration. Number 9. Mariana Trench, Pacific Ocean. In the western part of Pacific Ocean, east of the Philippines, lies the deepest parts of the planet's ocean. The Mariana Trench. The massive crescent-shaped scar in the Earth crust at 1,500 miles long and reaches a known depth of 36,000 feet. In a valley named Challenger Deep. This trench is so deep, even if you dropped the entirety of Mount Everest into it, the tip of the mountain would still be a mile from the surface. The only organisms that are able to survive the pressure are called xenophyophores, which are single-celled organisms that live on the mineral on the water. Wow! That was so deep. Mariana Trench is probably one of the most inaccessible locations on the entire planet for mankind. We never know how deep it really goes, or if some unknown species have made it their home. Number 8. Gangkhar Puensum, Bhutan. On the border of Bhutan and China, the giant snowy peak of Gangkhar Puensum rises 24,386 feet into the air, the highest mountain in the world that has not been climbed by mankind. Since 1922, this massive mountain has never been measured accurately until recent year, and it was even unable to found by the first team to attempt to measure its heights. 4 different teams attempted to climb the mountain between 1985 and 1986, but all 4 failed because of the dangers of weather. And in 1994 it became completely prohibited to climb higher than 19,685 feet, out of respect for local spiritual beliefs. Climbing on the mountain was banned outright in 2003. Number 7. Yucatan Cenotes, Mexico. Yucatan Peninsula was located in southern Mexico and directly north of Belize. Is filled with natural pits and sinkhole called cenotes. These holes are formed when the rock just beneath the ground begins to dissolve and break away, leaving large gaps and holes in the ground, which expose the groundwater that has been lying beneath. The rock that falls into the water causes the remaining rock to dissolve even further, causing the area to continue growing in size and form massive natural pits in the earth. Exploring these holes is far more dangerous than it is worth for the payoff of learning more about them. Despite their natural beauty, these caves pose extreme danger for explorers and animals alike. Number 6. Tsingy du Bamarea National Park, Madagascar. Located on the western edge of Madagascar, an island of the coast of southern Africa. This national park is centered around 2 large geographical features called Great Tsingy and Little Tsingy. These rock formations are plateaus, which have had deep ruts cut into them by the groundwater, to the point of making them completely unable to be traveled or walked upon. The word Tsingy, when translated, even means where one cannot walk barefoot, making it the perfect name for this incredibly unique area of the world. Because of the vast area in which these formations are located, the park was made unexplorable simply because of the fact that it is impossible to cross over the jagged plateaus. Number 5. Sakha Republic, Russia. This area or Russia is the 8th largest territory in the entire world, and the vast majority of it is above the Arctic Circle, making it basically a freezing cold desert. With an area of 1,190,555 square miles. The Sakha Republic is only slightly smaller than the entire country of India. The difference, however, is that the climate is so brutal that it is home to less than 1 million people. If the people who lived in this incredibly desolate region of the world were spread out evenly throughout the area, there would be more than an entire square mile between each individual. The average temperatures for the area hovers around 46 degrees Fahrenheit during the winter, and it is home to the Verkhoyansk Range, the coldest area in the northern hemisphere. Because of the extreme cold and freezing weather, much of this gigantic area of the planet area has gone largely unexplored and untouched by mankind. Number 4. Namib Desert, Namibia. This desert located along the Atlantic coasts of Angola, Namibia and South Africa stretches for more than 1,200 miles and is one of the most driest places in the entire world. In some part, this desert only sees 2 millimeters of water in the entire year, which means that it is basically impossible for anything to survive. And the few living things that do lives must do it with the most minimal water possible. This desert consists mostly of giant sand seas that span hundreds of miles. Any living things that gets left or lost in the areas would never be able to live without a rescue. In the less arid areas, there are indigenous people who manage to survive. But for the most part, the Namib is only home to invertebrates like scorpions and other small animals that can live with almost no water. Number 3. The Star Mountain of Papua New Guinea. This massive mountain range in Papua New Guinea stretches across the large portion of the small Indonesian country. It is currently thought of to be one of the wettest places in the entire world, with an annual rainfall of more than 10,000 millimeters per year. The rain is so torrential that there isn't a single place in this mountain range that can house a weather station. The area was actually attempted to be explored or mapped by Jan Sneap, a Dutch colonial civil servant in 1959. Even with 2 helicopters, the expedition still ended up rallying on manpower alone after one of the aircraft crashed. Number 2. Vale do Javari, Brazil. In recent decade, the world has seen less and less of people who still manage to remain out of touch with modern day of technology and civilization. The Vale do Javari is home to 14 different groups of them, with more than 3,000 individual indigenous people, belonging to 14 different tribes. The Brazilian government has prohibited people from entering the area in order to preserve the native people and their traditions. This 32,990 square mile area is bigger than the entire country of Australia, making it the perfect place to remain secluded from modernized society and relatively unexplored by the rest of the world. Number 1. North Sentinel Island, Bay of Bengal. This small island lies in the Bay of Bengal, between the southern coast of India and Thailand, making it extremely remote. Its inhabitants, called Sentinelese people, are the only human beings who have ever lived on the island, and have long since refused to accept modern visitors. Anyone who comes to the island to try and explore or to study the area is immediately rejected, oftentimes with violence. In 2006, 2 fishermen found themselves drifting toward the island after their anchor broke. And upon reaching the island, both of them were killed as soon as the Sentinelese people saw them near the shore. Because of this, the island exists completely out of touch with the rest of the modern world, and it's basically completely unexplored.